Sure. If I don't come. Sound on it now. Sound on it. What's in the big now?
I don't know if my headphone.
Come on. Don't take your sound on it.
So why call me for now? It's ridiculous. Just a short announcement. If we have our phones with us, can we kindly either switch them off or put them on silent so they don't disrupt you in the proceedings? May I also advise that for our media friends would expect very limited movement because we have a TV screen at the back that will be showing the documentary. Mic 1. Ladies and gentlemen, may I advise that we now take our respective seats. And may I ask that we rise for the arrival of the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and the Chairman Board of Directors, the MCCU, Sierra Leone, the Honorable Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow, the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone and Chairman Board of Directors, MCC Unit. Please be seated. May I also remind all of us that if we have our phones with us, we either switch them off or put them on silent so they don't disrupt the proceedings. And for our friends at the back from the media, we have two screens for the documentaries, so we would appreciate if you do not obstruct the screen at the back, because it will be used for the screening of the documentary messages. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Vice President, please rise for the arrival of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Brigadier Retired Dr. Julius Maada Bio, Supreme Executive Authority of the Republic, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the fountain of honor and justice and the symbol of national unity and sovereignty, and the guardian of the Constitution and the guarantor of national independence and territorial integrity. Please be seated.
Greetings from Washington, D.C.
We'll now commence the program by inviting the presence of God with a minute of silent prayers, please. Amen. Amen. Your Excellency, the President, the Honorable Vice President, Chief Minister and other Cabinet Ministers, the U.S. Ambassador to Sierra Leone, Development Partners, distinguished guests, good morning. On the 17th November 2015, the Government of Sierra Leone and the Government of the United States of America, through the Millennium Challenge Corporation, signed a $44.4 million grant agreement to implement the Sierra Leone Treasury Program. In February 2016, the Millennium Challenge Coordinating Unit, acting on behalf of the government of Sierra Leone, commenced the implementation of the Threshold Program with the aim of enhancing the operational efficiency and financial viability of utilities in the water and electricity sectors through improved sustainable service delivery. We are here this morning to witness the formal closure of the Sierra Leone Threshold Program. During this course of the program, we will listen to statements and watch video messages from the MCC. This will present an opportunity for the successes from the Threshold Program implementation to be had, and at the same time, we confirm commitment on the part of Government of Sierra Leone to sustain the gains we have made through the Threshold Program and developing a compact. Therefore, on behalf of His Excellency the President and the Chairman of the Board of Directors, MCCU, the Honorable Vice President, I want to heartily welcome you all to State House to witness the formal closure of the Sierra Leone Threshold Program. On that note, it is now my pleasure to invite the Chief Executive Officer of the Millennium Challenge Corporation Unit, Mrs. Ndei Fatou Koroma, for a statement and the introduction of a video documentary on the Threshold Program success stories. Mrs. Fatou Koroma, please.
Good morning, Your Excellency the President, the Honorable Vice President, Chief Minister, Ministers of Government, Members of Parliament, the Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. As I was thinking through this statement, having toiled for hours, huddled over the computer, trying to find the words that would strike the right chords and stir the right emotions, I realized that like much of the 5 years that we have spent implementing the Threshold Program, I was not in the present. I willed myself to raise my head for a break, and from the corner of my eye, I caught a glint of a beautiful sunset over the dazzling Freetown skyline. The vibrant yellow and orange hues majestically hovered over the ocean, a breathtaking view that forced me to pause, take a second, and drink in the sheer beauty of that single moment in time. I won't say the words then suddenly came to me, but I did realize that my hope for this brief statement today is to capture the joy and sense of accomplishment. I want all of us to savor this singular moment to mark the end of the Sierra Leone Threshold Program, $44.4 million to lay the foundation for the financially viable provision of water and electricity services, essential services for the people of Sierra Leone. The MCCU team, a band of young and bright Sierra Leoneans, were tasked with pursuing aggressive reforms in the electricity and water sectors. We were asked to influence policy, build capacity, and shift entrenched business cultures to ensure that our people have access to basic services that are integral to human capital development and the economic transformation that Sierra Leone wants to see. And indeed, this team has worked assiduously to deliver a successful threshold program, one of the first in MCC history that was led by an accountable entity. Your Excellency, if today Sierra Leone is being praised for its perseverance, diligence, and thorough execution of the Threshold Program, it is because of the team that you have given an opportunity to deliver on your mandate. We are from all the four corners of Sierra Leone, and we have worked with hundreds of people within the ministries and departments and agencies that have not only delivered a successful threshold program, but Your Excellency, a compact winning scorecard. Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity to recognize my team members, the folks that have held us up over the 5 years, and Sumana Soiree, Olubumi, Constant Pratt, Dekeka Conte, William Freeman, Fatma Tabari, Lucy Idris, Franklin Amadi, Adama Belmo Touré, Abrazak Kamara, Zenobia Adekol, Anne-Marie Bassi, Frederick Amara, and a host of support staff that were the architects that built the foundation for the provision of electricity and water services under this program. Further, the program has benefited from astute, sound, and energetic oversight that has been led by the Honorable Vice President, who serves as the chairman of the MCCU Board of Directors. The board also includes ministers, the Minister of Energy, the Minister of Water Resources, the Minister of Planning and Economic Development, and the Minister of Finance. Civil society organizations, Campaign for Good Governance, Budget Advocacy Network, and private sector Sierra Leone Brewery that have challenged us every step of the way to ensure that we remain accountable to the people of Sierra Leone in whose name these funds were being expended. And on the day-to-day engagement, I must recognize the unflinching support of the Minister of State, Madam Frances Algali, whose deep understanding of governance has provided immeasurable value to the program. I want to share with all of you the first advice the Honorable Vice President gave me when he took over the chairmanship of the board. He said, above all else in day, we must deliver. And your primary responsibility is to ensure that there's a coordinated plan to do that, as the completion of a successful threshold program is a pathway to a compact which will so profoundly change the development trajectory of Sierra Leone. We are building a legacy. That has resonated with me, and as a result, we have approached the threshold program and scorecard with utmost precision because we're doing this for generations to come. Your Excellency, if I were asked to reveal the secret to this program's success, I would say it's the genuineness of the relationship between MCC and MCCU, a partnership that has been built on trust. and facilitated by Matt Lang-Henry, the Resident Threshold Director. Your Excellency, we, especially Sierra Leoneans, are many times quick to point out our inadequacies and shortcomings in the pursuit of an esoteric state of perfection. But today, I am pleased to say that on behalf of the team, we're extremely proud of the program that we have delivered. We have executed diligently and have given our very best. And Your Excellency, from the results that we have shared with you, I hope that you can agree that this is a job well done. To conclude, I would like to thank you, Your Excellency, for your direction and deep commitment to rule of law, the fight against corruption, transparency, and results. All the ingredients that have contributed to the successful completion of the program. We hope that, like the Threshold program, we will celebrate the signing of the compact in the very near future and its successful completion in the years to come, not necessarily for us, but for our children. Thank you. And I would now like to introduce the video documentary, Your Excellency, of the 5 years of work that we have done in the water and electricity sectors. Please enjoy.
NCCU, the government of Sierra Leone, and partners within the Water and Energy Threshold Program have been in the process of providing much-needed long-term solutions for water and energy supply.
The goal of the national program is to help countries become eligible for compact, and that means that they should be able to pass the SOR. The objective of the specific threshold program was to be able to improve the financial viability of both the electricity and water sectors in Sierra Leone by strengthening the regulator, by improving commercial practices, and by increasing the efficiency of the operations of the entities in both the electricity and the water sectors.
The threshold program provides us an opportunity to get a deeper insight into the problematic challenges affecting the water and the electricity.
So the threshold program was really good for us. It's targeted the capacity of the station and how we go about doing all the various business processes from production to customer services. So that really for us was valuable.
We know the resulting financing was intended to provide a kind of support to improve our performance, particularly around our revenue collections, system of bonds, network reliability. And I tell you, we benefited a lot from that because there was also support from this.
What the guys went to was, let's take the production to 1,020 megawatt plants and also 1 megawatt plant. How are you replacing that with
I strongly believe after this study, Sierra Leone will benefit in different aspects, especially the technical side of it. Efficiency will be increased, and the downside, that is out of power interruption, will be completely minimized.
Because of this reality, I can tell you frankly that I have confidence in what I do now because I know most of what is happening. Like
we rely on foreign experts in order for them to start the maintenance to here. But once I've been to Ghana because of this training, I think we can be able to get out of that and can be able to also to deliver.
All the staff here have been numerous both locally and outside in terms of monitoring, in terms of tariff setting, in terms of regulations, in terms of tool development. So the capacity of the commission has been highly strengthened in development.
So we deliver the health and safety plan for instance, the design of the affluent software architecture. We supervise the installation of a laboratory, TLS laboratory for airstyle. We manage the geolocation and the attributes of the entire electrical system, collected information on 140,000 customers.
Where I like social progress because the aim was a vision of water supply facilities in future by doing the condition assessment of all facilities. So we now want to legislation because there are no conditions to have the dam and then program and also have legislation because access to the portion of the so we know exactly where we are with respect to the facilities. So we don't intervene this information.
That's the dream and that's the ambition. It's the same for the water sector. Enhance on the distribution network and improve the supply capacity. Through private sector intervention.
It's like the building blocks. Without those building blocks, any other community, any other project in the sector will collapse.
It has enabled us to have resources to support critical policy reform in those sectors. It has enabled us to build the fundamental pillars to get the water and the energy sector to another level.
And now, with the successful completion of the threshold program, MCC is thrilled about continuing this partnership with Compact Bank. This is an exciting time for growth and possibilities with people, safety,
Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, the Honorable Vice President, Board of Directors, Inde, and the team for such a wonderful program and the success of the Threshold program, which has touched the lives of many Sierra across the country. On that note, I now also invite Matt Langhenry for a statement and introduction of a video message from the MC leadership. Matt.
Good morning to His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio, to Vice President Dr. Mohamed Julde Jallow, to the Honorable Ministers, Chief Minister, Members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic Corps and Consular Corps, representatives of the international organizations, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. In November 2015, representatives from the government of the United States and Sierra Leone assembled in Freetown, much like this gathering here today, to launch the MCC Sierra Leone Threshold. The distinguished officials described the program as a step forward, a new partnership focused on the future. The threshold agreement they signed which outlined the future they envisioned together, included these words: "The goal of this agreement is to assist Sierra Leone to become eligible for the Millennium Challenge Compact by supporting the implementation of critical institutional and policy reforms that address the binding constraints to economic growth in Sierra Leone." As you all know, in December 2020, that goal was achieved. Congratulations on being selected to develop a Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact to further the well-being and prosperity of the people of Sierra Leone. As the MCC Resident Threshold Director, I was in a unique position to see how the MCCU board, Marcella, and my colleagues from MCC and the U.S. Embassy achieved this goal together. And also I got to see what activities they did to contribute to this success. However, upon reflection, the most inspiring aspect for me has been the why they were doing this. And since 2016, I have witnessed the MCCU CEO, Ende Karoma, and her team of passionate professionals dedicate endless hours on a challenging journey to reform the energy and water sectors in Sierra Leone. I saw Ende and the Vice President build a trusting environment where all voices were encouraged and team members could take risks. The team's motivation is deep and personal. You heard from Ende earlier. This comes from inside them. They have a desire for the best for their children and their families. They seek a Sierra Leone where clean water and abundant clean energy is available to all. They want a Sierra Leone with greater economic growth so that everyone can prosper. It is far from coincidental that the team was successful in the implementation of this threshold program. I am full of gratitude to have been a small part of it. The fulfillment I feel and the friendships I have gained are a gift that I will take with me. Thank you and congratulations. I would now like to introduce the Acting Chief Executive Officer of the Millennium Challenge Corporation and my boss, Mahmoud Ba, who so wanted to be here today, but due to the pandemic, he has sent us a video greeting that will be now played.
Greetings from Washington, D.C. I wish I could be with you in person today to celebrate this medical occasion. Circumstances prevent that, so virtually, on behalf of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, I want to congratulate the people of Sierra Leone for the successful completion of the NCC Sierra Leone threshold. I want to thank President Julius Maada Bio and Vice President Dr. Mohamed Diop for your leadership and support. Your commitment to this program has been critical for success. I want to thank NCCU and especially CEO Ende Karoma for implementing the threshold program so carefully and so well. Finally, I want
contemplate our own NCC treasury programs under the leadership of Matt Lengen, with seamless collaboration with our partners, working hands in hands to get us to the finish line. This $44 million program was built on a foundation of policy, sector coordination, and operational management in both the electricity and the power sector. Two sectors that are essential for a healthier, most prosperous future for the people of Sierra Leone. As a result of our partnership, the regulatory commission has been strengthened, equipped and operationalized into an independent authority, bringing greater accountability and transparency for the people of Sierra Leone. We have improved access to clean water across Freetown by investing in water management systems and installing new pipes and kiosks. 10 newly constructed water kiosks bring safe, accessible, and sustainable water closer than ever to the Aberdeen and Kingdom communities. By making water easier to access, we have put the time spent collecting water into productive occupations for the community, allowing children to attend school, or allowing parents to participate in the economy. In the electricity sector, we operationalize a new framework and market structure. We develop a new energy planning unit and build sector map to improve sustainability and encourage private investments. These interventions set the stage for expanding critical access to electricity. Better access to reliable electricity means more students can study at night. Means hospitals can provide better care with functioning equipment. It also means business can grow and thrive. Together, these reforms lay the groundwork for sustainable economic growth. This is a critical moment of Sierra Leone's history. And today's celebration is only the beginning. I am very excited that in December of 2020, MCC Board of Directors selected Sierra Leone for a larger grant called the Compact. I look forward to the day we sign this compact for the people of Sierra Leone. Congratulations once again to Sierra Leone on the successful completion of the MCC Sierra Leone Treasury Program. I look forward to seeing what more partnership will achieve in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mambuba, for that heartwarming message, and we wish you success in your new role as Acting Chief Executive Officer, MCCU. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency, it's now my distinct pleasure to also invite the U.S. Ambassador for a statement. U.S. Ambassador, please.
Good morning. Thank you to His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio for hosting this important event. Thank you also to Vice President Dr. Mohamed Jide Jallow, honorable ministers and government representatives, to the MCCU board members and staff, members of the diplomatic community, and guests. This is my first official act or official event after arriving here just a few weeks ago to be the United States Ambassador to Sierra Leone. And I have to say, I cannot think of a more appropriate or fitting way to begin my tenure here than my participation in this program this morning. Mr. President, the United States of America is and will remain a firm and steadfast friend of Sierra Leone. thanks to our shared values, democracy, the rule of law, and individual liberty, and our historic ties of family and culture, we remain deeply committed to Sierra Leone's success as a democratic nation and to the well-being of its people. From collaboration on peace and security to support for the health system as you confront long-standing health challenges and the current pandemic, the United States and our embassy here in Freetown will work with you to build a more prosperous, peaceful, and healthy future for all. I congratulate Sierra Leone for the enormous progress it has made in confronting the challenges facing its people. The government has made significant strides to respond to infectious disease outbreaks, raise spending on education, and increase the percentage of girls who complete primary school. Additional action has also been taken to control for corruption and combat trafficking in persons. These initiatives directly contributed to Sierra Leone passing the MCC scorecard for 2 consecutive years, and I'm confident by continuing our work together, Sierra Leone is on the path to a bright future. The MCC Threshold Program, closing this month, has been one critical part of that work. The twin challenges of reliable access to energy and clean water services have constrained the progress and opportunities for Freetown and the nation. Lack of access to reliable, stable electricity hinders healthcare, limits education, and stunts business growth and competitiveness. Lack of easy access to clean water provokes illness and death, particularly for young children. It also constrains businesses and families who must devote countless hours to obtaining water instead of other pursuits. Through the $44 million MCC Threshold Agreement, we've made tangible progress in confronting these challenges in Freetown. The Threshold Program improved access to safe water in Aberdeen and Kingdom, building kiosks in areas that hadn't had easy access to water in more than a decade. The program also improved the operational and planning capacities of utilities in the power sector and laid the groundwork to increase access to power throughout Freetown and Sierra Leone. I am honored and delighted to join you today in applauding the success of the MCC Threshold Program, and I congratulate the Millennium Challenge Cooperative Unit and the Government of Sierra Leone for their achievements. The work you have done not only benefits the people of Sierra Leone today, but has also built a firm foundation as you develop the Millennium Challenge Corporation Compact Agreement to further economic growth and progress. So for today, congratulations. I cannot wait to see what we'll accomplish together going forward through our strong bilateral relationship and the new MCC Compact. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Your Excellency, distinguished guest, every good team needs a good coach, and the Honorable Vice President has demonstrated an excellent leadership on the Threshold Program. It is now my honor to invite the Honorable Vice President, who also doubles as Chairman of the Board of Directors, MCC Unit, for his statements. The Honorable Vice President, please.
Your Excellency, President, Honorable Ministers, Development Partners, Board Members of the MCC, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Your Excellency, today is a very important occasion that marks a very important milestone in the partnership between MCC, the United States of America, and the Republic of Sierra Leone. Your Excellency, upon assuming office, you placed the MCCU under my direct leadership, and you gave me 3 objectives then. 1, you asked me to oversee the successful implementation of the Threshold Program. The second was to improve our performance on the scorecard. And the third objective, you did ask, directed, that we deliver a compact. Your Excellency, today we are marking the closure of the Threshold Program, the successful implementation of the Threshold Program. As we close the 5-year threshold program, it should be noted that MCC's decision to engage Sierra Leone in 2014 was in response to the Ebola crisis. The threshold program was part of the recovery architecture to ensure that essential services were available to Sierra Leoneans, especially clean water, to stop the spread of the diseases such as cholera and Ebola. In the wake of the current COVID-19 pandemic, the threshold program interventions remain extremely relevant. This attests to the criticality of undertaking a rigorous and data-driven process to identify areas of intervention that will meaningfully contribute to reducing poverty and propelling economic growth that will stand the test of time. His Excellency, to this end, our interventions have improved water availability and access in communities like Aberdeen and Kintom that had not had access to pipe-borne water in over a decade. These communities now have access to household water connections and enhanced water kiosks that are well lit and safe to reduce the risk associated with collecting water, especially for the vulnerable groups. Today, His Excellency, we can boast of other programs and initiatives using our threshold program kiosk model because its design was informed by data and evidence to respond to the risk and challenges associated with collecting water in our unique context. In the same spirit, His Excellency, we progressively improve on the performance, the scorecard. Before 2018, improving performance on the scorecard had been marred with several challenges. Upon assuming office, as I've indicated, the responsibility to improve the scorecard was primordial for your administration. A review of the MCC scorecard policy areas, especially in the fight against corruption, investing in citizens, promoting fiscal prudence, and attracting private sector investment, suggests a strong alignment with the new direction government priorities. And for me, this was the takeoff point to ensure that we build broad-based government buy-in on the process. His Excellency, as you have always indicated, that passing the scorecard and making progress in its policy areas is valuable in itself because it means that we are delivering on our mandate to the people, which is far more important than the funds. Further, it enabled governments to build a framework to have a dialogue with citizens on the progress in the scorecard based on measurable indicators. His Excellency, I was able to mainstream the scorecard improvement strategy in the plans of government MDAs by making deputy ministers champions of their respective scorecard indicators. We also established monitoring frameworks, and through the threshold program, we were able to build the much needed monitoring and evaluation capacities in select MDAs to report on the scorecard. Within 2 years, Sierra Leone has attained its highest score on the MCC scorecard and has sustained consecutive passes for the first time in the history of Sierra Leone's engagement with the MCC process. His Excellency, on your third directive, last year Sierra Leone was eligible for a compact. Sierra Leone was eligible for a compact. Sierra Leone now, His Excellency, I want to appeal, state and report that Sierra Leone has demonstrated its readiness for the compact development process by standing up a compact development team that has already started undertaking the constraint analysis to identify the most binding constraints to growth. We have been able to move quickly because through the threshold program, we have developed a strong data culture in government that is buttressed by a rigorous and transparent data collection architecture. Our aim is to ensure that the compact process is owned by the people of Sierra Leone and the design and implementation are inclusive. While the development of the compact is ongoing, the government will continue to build on the gains of the threshold program that sought to improve the financial viability of the electricity and water sector. His Excellency, I am confident that as we close the threshold program today, we are opening a new and promising door. I want to use this opportunity, His Excellency, to thank all those critical actors that have been vital to this long journey. First, the ministers. I want to single out the Minister of Energy, Alhaji Kanja Sise, the Minister of Water Resources, Engineer Lansana, and the Minister of Economic Development and Planning, Dr. Kaikai, and the Minister of State in the Office of the Vice President, Mrs. Algali, for their immense role in the board and also for their engagement, daily engagement. I want to also thank the board members, particularly from civil society group, the Campaign for Good Governance, Budget Advocacy, and our private sector board member. I want to thank you very much for your commitment. Finally, I also want to use the opportunity to thank our good friend and brother Matt for his consistent engagement with the process. And finally, I want to thank the entire MCCU team for their dedication. It has been a very, very important journey. We have come a long way. I remember when I assumed the leadership of the MCCU, by the time the news was made clear to them, I visited their office without notifying them to have the first day of engagement with them so that I can deliver the directive of His Excellency the President to the MCCU team. And I'm happy that the national coordinator today did remember that sentence that I delivered on behalf of His Excellency to the MCCU team. His Excellency, I want to conclude by stating that as we close the successful implementation of the threshold program and continue to improve on the performance in the scorecard and engage in the compact development process, we are on track with your directives, and we are also set. We stand by for further directives, His Excellency. And on that note, His Excellency, I want to thank you very much for your confidence and your leadership throughout this journey. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Vice President. Distinguished guests, every success has a source of inspiration. And for all of us, that inspiration comes from someone who leads with his heart and motivates us with his determination to transform Sierra Leone. Therefore, it is now my special privilege to invite the chief inspirator and the true champion of the success of the Threshold program, His Excellency the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, for his statement. A round of applause, please.
The Honorable Vice President, the Chief Minister, Ministers of Government, Ambassador David Rema, leadership of the MCC in Sierra Leone, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. This is indeed a happy day for us. Let me once again warmly welcome Ambassador to Sierra Leone. And don't be surprised, Mr. Ambassador. In Sierra Leone, it is traditional to welcome loved ones and people you care about deeply so many times over. Kushe and welcome. At the ceremony marking your presentation of your letters of credential, we raised a toast to the long and friendly partnership between our two countries. Our two nations have been forever bound together by history, the painful history of the Atlantic and the Amistad, the joyous return of the Mendy mission and the American Missionary Association, and over a century since then, continuous friendly relationships. But beyond that, my country and your country are bound together by shared values, values that you reiterated in your very first video broadcast on the US Twitter handle of maintaining peace, strengthening democracy, and creating an environment suitable for private sector investment. So again, in the true spirit of Salone welcoming tradition, Kushe and welcome. I also want to thank the U.S. Embassy and especially the outgoing Ambassador Maria Brewer for their continued support throughout this process. Let me also extend profound appreciation to the leadership of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, in the United States and Sierra Leone. On every visit to the United States, I have had fruitful dialogues with the leadership of the MCC and have stayed engaged and benefited greatly from those conversations. Thank you to the leadership of the MCC. Let me also thank the Honorable Vice President for his exemplary leadership. He has already detailed how he identified the leadership, set up the M&E in ministries, departments, and other accountability reporting mechanisms, and how he coordinated the work on the threshold that has led to consecutive scorecard passes. As the Vice President and I have often agreed, data does not lie, and we have deserved the scorecard passes at each turn. We came into governance determined to deliver sustainable and inclusive development. We believe that is possible when three things are in place. The first is a clearly laid out strategy. That is what we put in place in terms of the medium-term national development plan. Overarching priorities, that is investing in people, human capital development, quality education, skills development, accessible and affordable quality health care, food security, which are critical cross-enablers and multipliers of inclusive national development. And the third is a conducive governance landscape for private sector investment that is consolidating the peace, fighting corruption, and introducing progressive laws and policies that support the environment. As the Honorable Vice President indicated in his statement, my government's approach to compact eligibility was not about ticking the boxes. For us, the scorecard is yet another valuable measurable assessment tool of the impact of our own policies as a government. Passing the scorecard for us therefore means that we are delivering on our mandate to our people. That for us is even more gratifying. So passing the control of corruption indicator for us means that we are reducing fraud and red tape. That is good for both the public sector and for business. Protecting girls from early marriage, as well as from sexual and gender-based violence, and improving their retention and completion in schools will lead to poverty reduction and sustainable and inclusive national development. Making necessary reforms to improve service delivery and financial viability in the electricity and water sector is good for business and for overall quality of life. The MCC threshold has never been considered a marginal, standalone project. My my government developed its medium-term national development plan while the MCC threshold program was halfway through implementation. As one of the objectives of the threshold program was consistent with one of our development clusters, we simply reviewed the implementation strategy of the program by aligning its intervention with the broader objectives of our medium-term national development plan. So for me, it is the agility and flexibility of the MCC program that makes it very attractive. The idea that partner countries can co-create solutions that support inclusive, sustainable economic development. So today is a pivotal juncture in a 5-year-long partnership between the government of the United States of America and the government of Sierra Leone. Previous speakers have provided the details of the 44.5 million Sierra Leone threshold program. I will not bore you with that anymore. The threshold program has indeed laid the foundation for the improved provision of electricity and water services for the people of Sierra Leone. As I indicated earlier, it has sought to improve the financial viability of both the electricity and water sectors by pursuing an aggressive reform agenda. It has also built capacities in core functional areas of the utilities, stood up the regulator, and improved planning capacities for both sectors. I'm informed, for instance, that the electricity sector reform project has developed seminar documents for the sector, such as the electricity sector reform roadmap and the integrated resource plan that articulates the plans of the government of Sierra Leone to meet sustainable development goals of universal access to electricity. Given the constrained resource environment during COVID-19 and possibly in the post-COVID-19 period, the roadmap is designed to ensure collaboration among partners and stakeholders as they work in line with government priorities in a manner that is additive and not duplicative. So, the GIS architecture, the loss verification study, the training and upskilling of EGTC engineers in Ghana to manage our electricity infrastructure are all long-term contributions to a sustainable future in the sector. Equally so, the roadmap for the water sector and a WASH policy, the training of Guma Valley Water Company staff in their core functions, the first comprehensive conditions assessment and mapping of the entire GVWC network, including the reservoirs and treatment plants, and the National Development Resettlement Policy for mega infrastructure projects, I dare add, the first of its kind in Africa that provides guidance and compensation resettlement issues are just a few of those interventions in that sector. I must add that the district metering activity that targeted over 40,000 beneficiaries is providing pipe-borne water in Aberdeen for the first time in over 9 years. This is the MCC effect. I'm therefore proud to state that the threshold program has laid the building blocks and established a strong foundation for the electricity and water sectors in Sierra Leone. It has created an enabling environment for future investments in these sectors by supporting a robust regulatory architecture as well as building skills and capacities to sustain that architecture. To my mind, investment thrives where there are strong management and accountability structures. The strong data and accountability culture left by the impact of the threshold program in those sectors support forward-looking planning and also encourages predictability and transparency when regulating the backbone, when soliciting investment. Add that to a strong regulatory backbone, and we have all the critical components for providing quality electricity and water services in Sierra Leone. I want to assure the MCC and the government of the United States that my government is determined to build on the gains of the threshold program. Within the context of these gains, as speaker after speaker has said, Sierra Leone was selected for a compact in 2020. As the Vice President intimated earlier, we have already stood up a compact development team, and we have nearly completed the constraints analysis in record time. We have also scheduled monthly briefings with the compact development team on the compact development process. I want to personally ensure that there are no bottlenecks, that all resources are made available for the compact development process. Additionally, I also dispatched a study tour delegation to Senegal, headed by the Honorable Vice President, with a view to soliciting views, experiences, and best practices on the compact development process. I have since then followed up with a visit to Senegal. Let me conclude by reaffirming our strong commitment to the long-standing partnership between the MCC and the government of Sierra Leone. We want to further strengthen that partnership through continuous engagement. I am available to meet at short notice with the MCC team, and I look forward to developing and signing a compact in the near future. Thank you.
A round of applause for His Excellency the President and the true champion of the success of the threshold program. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your continued inspiration to a team which is committed for your legacy to be etched in the heart of every Sierra Leonean. At this point, I would like to announce that His Excellency has kindly consented for photo opportunity, and we're going to have two sets of photo opportunity, one with members of the board, and then the other with the MCCU team. Before that, I would also like all of us to stand for the national anthem to signal the formal end of the program. Please be seated. With your kind permission, Your Excellency, the photo opportunity will be at the lawn. So we'll now ask the members of the board of directors to please make way to the lawn. The Honorable Vice President will lead the board directors to the lawn.
George. Well, from them, of course, we did in our State House this morning. Of course, today mark the end of the Sierra Leone Threshold program. We been done to be since 2015. This of course, a program. We, of course, a $44.4 million threshold program. Of course, this program, the Tripartite is a big agreement we, of course, signed between the government of Sierra Leone and the government of the United States of America. The Millennium Challenge Corporation, MCC, they represent them. NAYASU. Of course, this is now a 5-year program since November 2015, and of course, the Salon Parliament may approve them so that it will be in force, and it starts in 2016, whereby the Millennium Challenge Coordinating Units, the MCCU, we of course establishing through big agreements. We, of course, the your responsibility, the MMC, for oversee and manage how they will implement this program. Because this program, a program where they involve a lot of utility services, like Boma Valley, of course, then the Electricity Distribution and Supply Authority, DSA, and also the EGTC, and also the EWRC, that's the Water and Electricity Service. This, of course, now for address a lot of problems in their utility services and they, so that they will for improve them for the benefits of the people of Sierra Leone. So this threshold program, of course, now the Vice President of the Sierra Leone government, of course, now him the header, because the President gave him the chance for serve as the chairman of the MCCU board of directors. Inside the board of directors, they, of course, you get the government side, the privates, and also you get civil society. They all will be part of that, because and therefore they monitor and see how they implement the threshold. So in December 20, because of this 2020, because of this success of the threshold program, that's been made select Sierra Leone, for a compact development. That now one big fund we for address most of the things. So we will make it come up fine. That's would they ride on the back of the threshold program, so that the program go. This for make them easy for now family with the listen. When I go see say they make one kiosk na Aberdeen, for this water business. This na the threshold program. We, of course, out of the money, we the MCC pool from the United States of America, the agreement with the government of Sierra Leone signed with the U.S. Government. We, of course, na MCC, they represent the U.S. government, and the MCCU, they follow the implementation. So you find out if you go Aberdeen, you go see one big kiosk where the Vice President we just opened very recently na Aberdeen. So it has served about 40,000 people now then go get for benefit from that water kiosk there. This they show that a demonstration of the project at Kintom, and it will serve the Kintom and Aberdeen community.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for
and also
departure of the
Panda program day.
The
final say
the Republic of Sierra Leone.
A lot of improvement been
The
taken.
departure of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone,
His Excellency the
Brigadier Retired Julius Madabio,
join office,
and the Honorable Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone.
This will depart at the various offices, including the Chief Minister.
Thank you very much,
Also,
everyone.
So, this project, of course, when I go find, say, the Goma Valley Water Company, they lay a lot of work, you know, then they lay a length of pipe where they install, and also 3.1 kilometer pipe, and so then we do some bulk water meter where they install, then also then do what they call DMA control room where they establish, you know, in terms of monitor the water system, and then they do customer meter installation of 1,246 people as well into that, and also then do some 10 water kiosks where they construct, and then they use as well the asbestos pipe where they safely deposit at na 380 meter asbestos pipe, and also then we do 15.6 kilometer spaghetti pipes. Well, them pipes and they will try for remove them, for replace them with a pipe. Where you know, there's spaghetti pipes and they call them blue pipe where they can just cut, anybody can just cut them and get water we need. And also then we do some compensation of the people that were affected with the person that were affected with them pull them pipe then they. So all in all, then we just spend about $4.12 million into that project day. All this now the threshold program, the water kiosk, and then when I find out say EDSA being recruit some people them where they go house to house to go check the customer data that we do for go know how much customer that they use electricity and how the electricity improvements they in the country. All that, and in fact they dig, change some pipe. So they may work on and on. This now in connection to essential service like water and electricity. And also again they maintain some staff them. We go make, go call Master Sabi people and come out overseas. So then train them already so that we will get them people and they now so we're going to do their job and they instead of you go bring Master Sabi people and come out from overseas. And also a lot of benefits been come out of that project there. So because now 5 years project since 2015, so 2016 way, of course, the person of parliament agree for them, then they begin for implement them. Now at the end of the threshold program, the 5 years, we then give that money for $44.4 million. You don't know, and we see a lot of improvements in the water system and electricity as well. So government now they look at other projects because with this they're going to give reports also to the American government that money wanna be give now so and spend them, and we see some improvements in utility service. So now that make we so this morning, and His Excellency Dongi in grace, he praise the Vice President and all other in their diverse way play role for make the success of this threshold program since 2015 in November where it starts. So for now the program not done but yet still and they carry on with the balance, but then the American government will go for look again for send other money where they go help we in another area. But the most important thing for us, whether for the $4.4 million deal with, now the water system for improve on them and also for improve on electricity. Well, the program don't close, and we hope that we'll get more benefits out of it. Well, we want for Teluna Tenki as well. Also, one for Teluna Tenki. But one of the people that we've been there Nada program the civil society. You know the role of civil society. I be a member of the board. We get Marcella Sambasise. I want to welcome you to SABC.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Marcella, let people understand the importance of this, the closure of this threshold program.
I mean, today and day where I feel personally feel very, very much satisfied and fulfilled. So it is that 5 years ago in the form of identifying what we call the most binding constraint to development in Salone, where we sit down, we think through and we use data for no say water and electricity. If we're able for fixed water, we're able for fixed electricity, a lot of other things then will fall in place. We perceive them as the building blocks towards development. And today, that $44.4 million project through the NCC was accomplished, and we don't get a successful closure to the threshold program. I mean, this is a lesson for me all. This is a project where really data driven. Now data might inform the choice, now data might inform every step we will take within this project. It's also important that the members then, the senior members then, they work assiduously for let this project implement through the task and plan will be on set. The schedule can be really robust, and we find out say in the final analysis visible impacts then across the board of how successful this program can be. Because, for example, if we look at the institutional capacity for places like EDSA, you need to get the kind of system we need for them in place for the EDSA able to deliver. If they're not able to get proper system, institutional structures, and reform their structures, then the ultimate goal they see when a light, will be sustainable. So this threshold program for me now a foundational program, and I think I'm so excited because now we don't get the building block for any other thing now in terms of water and electricity. Right.
Thank you very much, Marcella. Thank you very much. Well, Famulem, I think say Nayasu will round up. I want to say plenty thank you for we on the View SLBC. Continue for View SLBC. We always will bring on our programs we go interested in. And on behalf of the management and staff of the SLBC and the team outside broadcast, of course I get George Luis on camera, Alex Sise, my technical man, Mina Dan Mosiri, wishing a pleasant afternoon, and we will switch over to New Englandville for continue the day's broadcast. Until then, good afternoon.